Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of the MinnMax Show, a place about games, friends, and getting better. My name is Ben Hansen, and I'm thanking you for joining us. I'm joined by Kyle Hilliard.
Hello. Was this like the fifth time in a row for this type of episode?
What?
Something like that?
Yeah, it's the best episode of the year. There's no doubt about it. We're also joined by Jacob Geller.
I agonize over this episode.
Do you
it's
really?
the most stressful episode of the year.
This is your equivalent of us agonizing over those stupid Thanksgiving jokes that we just put up for an entire year. I'm writing mediocre jokes on my phone. This for you is like deleting and copy and pasting 3 different audio tracks again and again and again.
Correct.
Perfect. Thanks for being here. We're also joined by the mad maestro herself, Emily Reese.
Hello, Maestra. Thank you.
Oh, is it really Maestro?
I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea.
You're the music expert, damn it. Emily Reese from Level with Emily. Thank you for being here. Yeah, this is, we've done this, I think 4 times now at MinnMax at least, of celebrating the best game music of the year, and nobody's more qualified, and I hate to put pressure on her, but it's true, nobody's more qualified than Emily Reese. Emily, from the Level with Emily podcast, you have interviewed every composer in the video game industry probably 4 times at least at this point, like just over and over and over again. Like you know everybody.
A lot of them, yeah. A lot of them, but there are so many that I haven't too. So there are a lot on the list that I still want to. And oh my, so many cool things coming up and even this week. So I'm excited. Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Lots of stuff. But it's funny, we just counted because I just interviewed Jason Graves and I was like, how many freaking times? And someone counted and that was the 13th time I had interviewed him. That doesn't even count doing panels. But, you know, I mean, yeah. But that's an extreme example. But there are some that have been on several times. So, yeah.
But there's always new music.
Ben and Jacob and me particularly, I know who that composer is and what they worked on. But I don't think Ben and Jacob
I got it. Okay, pop quiz me. I think Tomb Raider reboot, Dead Space.
Yes.
Is there Assassin's Creed in there? I forget.
No.
Of course not. Kyle, I told you there was an Assassin's Creed in Jason.
You did. You told me.
His discography. What's his most recent project, Emily?
Call of Duty, the Battle Royale maps. What do they call it? They call it
Warzone thing?
Warzone. Yes. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Warzone.
So if we're all in the industry long enough, we'll all eventually start working on Warzone at Call of Duty. That's the end goal. We could all dream of that level of success. This episode is all about the best video game music of 2023. We each have a handful of tracks we're going to be playing, so hope you all enjoy this episode. You can kick back and enjoy it. If you're watching on YouTube, sorry you have to look at us. We're going to be dancing our asses off. You can always subscribe to the audio version for free on your favorite podcast app. The MinnMax Show is what this show is called if you want to relax and walk around while listening to this music. Also, everybody who listens at 1.5 speed, you 2-time speeders out there for listening to podcasts, we're on to you. Don't ruin this episode for yourself. Slow down, you maniac. When I listen to this episode back in the future, I'm going to slow it down like a gentleman. And also, everybody watching on YouTube, thank you for being here. Feel free to leave a comment below with your favorite piece of game music that we perhaps won't get to in this episode, because there's a ton to go around. So please, everybody, contribute, and we can help share some great tracks from this year here. And if you don't want any video game music, if you're annoyed by this whole thing, you should loosen up, first of all. But then second of all, you can jump right to community questions. There's timestamps on all episodes of this podcast for a reason, so please have fun with it. Emily, again, thank you for being here. Level with Emily is your podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I want to dive into all the music, but before that, I want to do an obnoxious plug, because this Saturday, December 2nd, something that's been a long time coming, we have our Give to the Max charity stream. The Give to the Max charity stream is happening on MinnMax's YouTube channel for 25 hours straight. We're going to be playing games, rotating through guests in the MinnMax studio, auctioning off a ton of great prizes, and all of the money is going to Connections to Independence, which is helping foster kids in Minneapolis. 100% of the money is going directly there. So we're streaming for 25 hours with a ton of absurdity planned. Haley McLean is coming down from Nova Scotia, coming to join us in the MinnMax studio, which is very exciting. So we are going to be playing a ton of games. If you donate any amount to help foster kids in Minneapolis, you are in the running to win a game code. We have literally hundreds and hundreds of game codes to give away. So just when you leave that donation, you can just let us know what systems you own, what consoles you own, and then we'll divvy out those game codes accordingly. But we have a ton of amazing charity auctions going on at the top of every hour on Saturday, December 2nd, and then going throughout the night as well. So we're giving away stuff like Spider-Man 2 PS5, a giant Mario question mark block that went with the Mario movie, filled with a bunch of Mario movie merch that Nintendo sent us, which is pretty sweet. A ton of Game Informer golds, thanks to Matt Miller and everybody at Game Informer for donating a ton of Game Informer golds, which is like a special, super, super limited edition version of Game Informer with higher print quality stock and like a gold label on it. So limited edition, I genuinely don't know, if you put a gun to my head, how you could any way get one other than this charity stream. Kyle, what's your title at Game Informer?
Mr. Manager.
Okay.
I magazine content director.
Okay, magazine content director for the biggest video game magazine in the world. If you wanted to get an issue of Game Informer Gold, how would you do it?
You would bid on it at an auction.
What's number 2 as an option?
We want to give them away more. We have not been able to yet.
Okay, so this is your chance, everybody.
Yeah.
Donate to charity, please. We also have some Game Informer posters. We have a Ghostbusters cooler. We have a Final Fantasy XVI bundle with a date with Clive Rosfield thrown in there. A New Show Plus bundle. You can try to figure out what's going to be in there. We have a copy of the Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty Collector's Edition that's signed by CD Projekt Red. We have a silly celebrity
Did
office.
they all hold the pen at the same time?
That's right. And they only sign it once. But we have a silly celebrity autograph, Kyle, that used to be, I don't know, I'd argue hanging in the kitchen of Game Informer's office, if you remember what that one was. That'll be a fun surprise for folks.
Okay, you're keeping it a surprise?
Yeah, I think so. We have a cribbage board that my dad made, cut down the tree himself, and that's his passion, is making cribbage boards, so we're auctioning that off. You can win a twisted metal fridge from Jacob Geller, but you have to drive out in North Carolina to pick it up.
If you are willing to pick it up, because I am not putting it in the mail.
So a ton of great stuff. It'll be a lot of fun raising money, again, for Connections to Independence, Foster Kids of Minneapolis. So you can go to bit.ly/MinnMax23. Otherwise, go on our Patreon page. We'll have a link there. Otherwise, just tune in this Saturday on YouTube. All right. Can we get to the music now, everybody?
Please.
Oh, okay, great. Well, the sweetest music to me is raising money for kids. So let's go over those bundles one more time for charity.
That was my number 3, dude. Did you also pick that?
All right, Emily, we each have 3 tracks, and then we have some honorable mentions, and the community suggested a ton of great stuff over there on Patreon. And so I figure maybe the cleanest way to go is like we can each share a track, go through our 3, and then we can toss it to some community ones. Then we can sprinkle in our honorable mentions from here on out. But this episode is going to be a lot of sitting back and enjoying some music. So, Emily, your third favorite music track.
Third on my list, Baldur's Gate. Let's do it.
Baldur's Gate. All right, here we go. There it is.
Baldur's Gate, I love what they did with the music. I love how much singing there is, which isn't something you're going to hear me say very often, because usually I think anytime someone adds words, it ruins it.
Oh.
But when it comes to Baldur's Gate, it's just so effective how they use the songs, and I think it really sets it apart from a lot of fantasy scores in that way. I mean, obviously, there are a lot of examples, but I think I just love the fireside and folkiness, and then of course all the epic orchestral stuff.
Yeah.
But no, there are lots of songs. There's a lot of singing, and in an epic orchestral way, there's singing with like choir. Like right away if you start the main theme, you hear like men singing, and there's all this choral stuff. But then there's all this lovely solo work, and she, I think, features more prominently than any of the other soloists, and her name is Maria Anastasova. Yes, Maria Anastasova. It was hard to find her because, I don't know, but I just think she has an amazing voice.
Yeah.
And I love the songs, and Slavov did just a phenomenal job with all the music.
Yeah, it is funny. I mean, people wrote in, obviously praising Baldur's Gate 3 soundtrack up and down, but people were like, it's just so bizarre to have like the character creator theme. You start to realize like, oh, this is being woven throughout the entire experience. Like it's not often that like the character creator music is that important. I feel like normally it's like a cute
smart.
little ditty. Yeah, it is smart. Just like, all right, we're going to hit you out of the gate strong with this and it will keep going. Love it. Great pick, Emily. We all support Baldur's Gate 3 on this podcast. Let's see, Jacob, what do you like for your... What do you like for your next one?
Let's do another vocal track with Alan Wake 2.
Oh, yes.
But not the one you're thinking, probably.
Well, here we go.
Sure.
Alan Wake 2.
Painajainen hän luoksesi saapuu, hänet verhot tuon varjojen kaapuun. Monta tarinaa hänestä kerrotaan, häntä pakoon et pääse sä milloinkaan. Hän peilistä sua tuijottaa, murhan polten se kruunoi mua. Tuon katseen tunnet et voi unohtaa, vaik kasvot piiloutuu veriverhon taa. On yötön yö, se järjen syö. On yötön yö, se miehen syö. Puukkohippaan tanssi pian.
Hell yeah, Jacob. You gotta do it. Yotenyo, as I'll obnoxiously call the song because I don't know how to pronounce it.
Is that the karaoke song or what?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So this is it's a scene early on in the game where you go to the town of Watery and you walk into a small bar, and Adi the janitor from Control is performing this song which is in Finnish on the stage, and it's like it's such a weird part of the game, and then they play it again in the credits, but like Finnish is a weird sounding language. That's kind of like my point here. It's like, even when you're looking at, like, I was looking at like the transliterated lyrics, and it's like, those letters don't mean the same sounds that they do in English, where it's like, even though I can see it spelled out, I could not tell where the song was. But then the lyrics are like kind of about the events of the game or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my next question, is like, you know, maybe even a point of contention is like, was that song made for Alan Wake 2? Or was that just like a popular
Yes.
song?
It is original, because Yotenyo, or whatever it is, means nightless night.
I mean, Alan Wake 2, unbelievable soundtrack throughout the entire thing. Can I play a song from Alan Wake 2 as well?
Please do.
Great. So if you haven't played Alan Wake 2, at the end of every chapter, they play a song, and a song, Kyle, that was written for Alan Wake 2. Do you remember Alan Wake 2, Kyle?
Yeah, these songs were written for Alan Wake 2? Because Alan Wake 1, they were all like pop songs.
Right. No, these are, I mean, the lyrics are always directly referencing it. If you look at like the credits, like Sam Lake is credited for working with the artists on a lot of these songs, at least. I don't know about 100% of them, but
very cool.
This was my favorite track from Alan Wake 2 here.
Through darkest dark, I'm pushing through. Through the end, I'm reaching you. Though they keep saying that my baby is gone, I keep on loving you. left to love. And there's no right left to guide us both. I keep you with me through the darkest night. And I won't let go. I lost that plot along the way.
Ugh, soundtrack to that game is so damn good. And it is weird that we're starting out with so many lyrics in all of these songs, but they really have an impact. Sorry, everybody. So good. All right. Kyle, number 3. You got one to
Get
share?
these lyrics out of
Yeah,
here.
these are video games, buddy. What do you got?
Let's just get intense and scary and have a moment where we're all like, oh yeah, the soundtrack to this game is crazy. I forgot about it. I hadn't played it in a couple years. This is from Phantom Liberty.
Ooh. All right.
It's like one of the first like tracks you kind of hear. It's like the first big action sequence. It like throws this music at you and you're like, oh yeah, this game is like scary and intense. I forgot.
Awesome. There's links below, by the way, for all these tracks if you want to find it. This one's called Force Projection.
You have to imagine this. Planes have literally crashed. There's like fires everywhere, explosions, and you're like, I don't remember how to reload.
Yeah.
What is the button to go back to this gun?
Right.
How do I hack people again? And then that's just like reverberating in your ears. It's so intense and scary.
Hell yeah. I love it. Great,
But it's
great pick.
good. It's a great way to kick off Phantom Liberty.
Yeah. No one else chose one for
All
Phantom Liberty,
the-
so.
All the combat music in Cyberpunk is so, I mean, the Cyberpunk music in general, but the combat cues are so good in that game.
So my third one, third favorite track of the year, is a weird one because I didn't get that far in the game. But as ammo for somebody trying to convince me why I should play this game, Bianca Reichert sent me this track from Octopath Traveler 2. And it's the best case anybody's made for why I shouldn't miss this game. So here's a song from Octopath Traveler 2 called Kate Theme. It builds from there to the end, but you get the basic idea of Kate theme / Kate battle from Octopath Traveler 2. Just a delight.
It's a Peter McConnell ass track.
Ooh,
right?
Peter McConnell reference. Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Sure, I could see it, yeah. Unfortunately, he changed his name to Yasunori Nishiki, who composed Octopath Traveler 2. By the way, Emily, I gotta say, it was the perfect pairing of that jaunty tune while you're wandering around your house with your new phone.
Sorry.
No, it was perfect.
It was perfect.
Yeah, it made it more
I'm still wanting
immersive.
to mess with the lights too, which is
No,
ridiculous.
no,
I'm
it
not
looks
even gonna
great.
mess with
It looks
Yeah.
great. Don't do it. Don't even dream of it. But all right,
Yeah.
Emily, number 2. What do you got?
Number 2, it's hard for me. What the hell? Number 2, I chose Tchia,
Yeah.
which I cannot. It just can't be said enough to say what it did for my mental health over the awful winter we had
Sure.
here in the Twin Cities, which was terrible, absolutely awful. And I didn't really realize it till it was over. You know, I mean, I would never have told you in the moment, I can't take this anymore. But when it was over, I was like, wow, that was rough. but Tchia I played at the end of that, and it's just so good, and it's such a beautiful game, and they just for this studio literally in the middle of, to us, nowhere, just making this beautiful homage to their country and their music, and John Robert did such an amazing job, and I just it's so good, and just the vibe was exactly what I needed, and I just think the game in and of itself was an achievement, and so was the soundtrack. So it deserves the credit. It deserves credit that it's not going to get. So
here is Tingeting Village from
Tingating. Yeah.
Thank you. So damn good. And not to jump your gun, but I mean, Jacob, you also had a track from Tchia. You want to roll that one?
I was gonna pivot away from it, but like let's just play them both back to back, because this is I agree. And like total score, this is my favorite score of the year. I think it is so good. And I'm glad we chose very different tracks, because yours was kind of one of the more chill ones, and I have kind of the like big theme.
All right, here's
just the main theme.
Oh yeah.
How do you stop playing that?
Get started, right? Get into the game.
Yeah, I mean, but then it also got me like when you're sailing and that theme kicks in again, like the sailing theme is unbelievable. Oh,
the underwater music too when you swim. That was when I almost chose. It was hard to choose a track.
Yeah,
it really was.
That's unbelievable. Jacob, did you want to choose another one then?
Sure. Let's do the humanity one.
Oh. I'm so glad you picked a track from Humanity, Jacob. It would not be fair not to represent Humanity for when you were talking about the best music of the year. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's so good.
you know, it's funny because it's like it's kind of the least music-based game Enhance has made. You know, if you're comparing it to like Tetris Effect or Rez or whatever, but
Yeah.
like. The soundtrack so perfectly fits with what the game is, which is like disembodied humans, or just like thousands of humans that all kind of don't exist as individuals and only exist as a mass. So to have the soundtrack just be these like weird alien choral sounds where it's like, that doesn't sound like people singing, even though I know that it is like human sounds.
Right. Oh, it's so cool. Great pick. That song's called Thrive. Again, all these tracks are listed below. Kyle, I see what you're doing for number 2 here. You want to set the sucker up?
Yeah. Controversial opinion.
Okay.
That leads off of you guys' previous point about the Humanity soundtrack. Didn't really love that looping the whole time I was trying to solve a puzzle.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Just too slow solving those puzzles.
Maybe just that loop. It kind of scratched my ear in the wrong way at a certain point. But this game has a looping puzzle song that I quite enjoyed, and it is the one that sort of stood out to me over the sort of stepping back and thinking about the game and listening to some of the soundtrack. It's from A Space for the Unbound, and it's the song that plays arguably when you're doing the most puzzle solving.
Really takes you back, Kyle. It's like, oh, that's right. It came out like in January, but hearing this, like, oh, that's right. I listened to this song a ton back at the start of the year.
It is the one I think you hear the most over the course of the game, and it is very much, it just embodies like putting your hand on your chin and being kind of like, okay, now what goes where, you know?
Where am I running
but yeah, it's
to?
just a very, chill beats to study to kind of track that I like.
Yeah, absolutely. Space for the Unbound is the name of that one. Let's see. Oh, gosh. For my number 2, we had so many different contributions from the MinnMax community. Everybody was tossing out different games. This game came up the second most. But it came up a lot of everyone like, well, you got to talk about this game. You got to talk about this game. Final Fantasy XVI, everybody. We got to do it. An amazing soundtrack. This is probably my favorite track. This is boss music called To Sail Forbidden Seas here. If you translate these lyrics, they're also all about Alan Wake. Strangely enough, it's really bold. Yeah, unbelievable soundtrack. I mean, it's Final Fantasy 16 has my favorite Final Fantasy soundtrack since 8. I mean, for a series that legendary. Big qualifier is I haven't digested all the music from 14 outside of Theatrhythm and the beginning hours of that MMO. But it's
I assume 7 Remake would be it with.
I guess if that counts. Yeah, you're right. You know what, Kyle, I guess. I take it all back. But 16 is damn good as well. But yeah, same composition team as 14. This was from Masayoshi Soken, and I apologize for all pronunciations on this episode of composer names, but I mean, just to match the epicness of all those fights with that score, and for those two to be hand in hand so perfectly married throughout the entire game, every boss fight, every combat encounter, I was so excited to jump into. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it had that thing of like I know I'm into the score when I'm like, okay, give me the big one. You know, it's like when I was playing a fight and I'd be like, is this a big enough fight that they are going to give me that theme? And when they did, I was like, yeah, now we're really in it.
Do you want to play the track from 16 that you like too a lot, Jacob?
Yeah, the Find the Full, Flame Full, I guess, is this one. This is when you're fighting kind of a dark shadow of yourself. And it's similar.
This weekend I was so pumped to finally play through all of the DLC. They added the Theatrhythm because they added all the Final Fantasy 16 stuff. So like playing through all those tracks again, well, I mean a handful of those tracks, it's just reminded you how freaking awesome that entire soundtrack is. This feels cheap even, but quick shout out, speaking of Final Fantasy, to the opening of Theatrhythm Final Bar Line, which is the music rhythm game. They just have the most fun version of the Final Fantasy theme here.
This is if it was a Mario Kart level.
Yeah. That bass.
So fun. It's just
imagine the people listening at 1.5 speed to that. It's just like freaking sprint.
I envy them.
Flames start coming out of their headphones.
Just to remind you all,
What am I on the third lap? What's going on?
Theatrhythm Final Bar Line rules. Okay, Emily, you have one here. Let me pull it up. I was surprised by this.
By my number one.
By your number one, but I like
Which is,
it.
I mean, I don't know that it's my number one. You know what I mean? Like, I just loved it. And I love what this team did. And I love his music. And this is Oxenfree to Lost Signals.
To the Valley from Oxenfree 2.
I need to go listen to more of this because like synth is like that's where I'm at these days. That's like my mindset when it comes to like listening to music is synth. Give me all the synth.
All the synth, all the scientific, all day. He's so good, and the whole game. I mean, both games are about audio, right? I mean, it's about radio signals, and you're trying to triangulate all these things and ghosts and whatnot. But just he's just so good. Like seriously, he's definitely one of my favorites. I love all his music so much, and I love what he brought back from the first game and how he changed it for the second game and all the radio stuff. Scientific, his name is Andy, and he's got this side project that he's done in his life where he plays this character called Morgan Cooley, who plays like if you're familiar with this old public radio show called Music from the Hearts of Space, it's like this guy would like talk like this and let's go listen out in Neptune now to the beautiful synth of whatever, and that's this whole radio show, and it was decades, and that's what he does, and that's one of the radio stations in the game, and then you hear Morgan Cooley's music. It's just sound within sound within sound within sound, and it was just so brilliantly done, and on top of that, to have the music be so good.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
All right, Jacob Geller, I love this final pick from Goodbye
hit me
Volcano
with that.
High.
Goodbye Volcano High.
Here it is. Awesome. Again, this is a case of like, no offense, Jacob, to everyone like you who also loves Goodbye Volcano High, but I just would see those trailers and I'm like, the dinosaur high school game. I know you said it's great, but it's not until hearing the music where it's like, oh, okay, if this is the vibe of this game, I am so much more intrigued.
Well, it's interesting because it's like, it's not necessarily, but it's like my take is like this band is the reason to play through Goodbye Volcano High. Like I think the characters are like decent, and I think the art style is like done really well, even if it's not quite your jam. But like the soundtrack to this game is like one of my favorite albums of the year, just in terms of like actual, I have probably listened to it more than most other things, and it like most fictional bands I feel like are just kind of generic rock bands, and so for this one's take to be this kind of a Phoebe Bridgers sounding like really really interesting it's just like it's exactly the kind of music that I like to listen to non-video game, and so like having that in a game just made me very excited.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Nice.
Kyle, your number one was the winner. Congratulations, you chose correctly. The most submitted game when it comes to music tracks of the year in terms of the community stuff, but you want to regale us with what you chose?
Oh yeah, no, I'm honestly surprised, but also agree with them. This is from Sea of Stars, which is maybe my favorite soundtrack of the year. It's very much a throwback to 16-bit era RPGs. the composer of Chrono Trigger was like literally involved. But the majority of the music was done by Eric W. Brown. And the soundtrack isn't readily available yet.
Really?
Like it's not. There isn't. I couldn't find. Yeah, like on YouTube, that no one's like uploaded it fully. So what this is a track from the game, but it's like a sort of it's not like the final version that appeared in the game. This is like the higher quality version that the composer released actually like a year or two ago or something like that. But this song does appear in the game. It's the battle theme when you fight like bigger enemies and bosses. And stuff.
Okay. Super cool. Super cool.
Love a good RPG battle theme.
That sounds like a great one. I don't think I'd get sick of that over and over again for sure.
Yeah, and that's not the main one. Right?
Okay.
It's like that's the sort of plussed up version for the bigger fights. But
right.
Yeah, that whole soundtrack is great. And then every bar you go into, there's a band of like pirates that are playing like old timey instruments, and like pretty much every track in the game you can hear a version of it played with those like old timey instruments in the bars. Like you can go up and request songs and stuff like that.
Yeah, Patrick Hughes.
Just a great soundtrack.
Patrick Hughes from the community suggested one of those specific pirate bard band tracks. If you want to listen to this here.
Yeah.
Sea of Stars, everybody. Oh my God, are people gog over that soundtrack? And again,
hopefully it's on Spotify soon or somewhere it's more accessible. That's my favorite soundtrack of the year.
I love it. Let's see. My favorite track from the year came from an experience that not a lot of people checked out, but it's surprisingly cool. This is from a game called Tren that is within Dreams. Media Molecule made a new game that's like a big Media Molecule production that's all about toy trains within Dreams. But
this is the community was like, this is the number 2 that everyone was submitting music from this for.
Yeah, how'd you know? All right, Mr.
I love how
Smart
obscure
Alec.
it is. This is totally
all right.
unexpected.
Yeah, how's this for obscure? Hope you're sitting down, Kyle. This is the music to Tren from Media Molecule. for people not watching.
Fantastic, man. Love it.
People not watching the video version, Kyle's crying. I think the first time I've ever seen him cry in my life. This is unbelievable. He got owned so hard. This is from Ed Hargrave, who is the audio designer at Media Molecule. But I just love, like, he's probably been working with these tools for 10 years. Like, you know what? I'm just going to compose the greatest soundtrack ever for our Final Dreams experience about trains. There we go, everybody. We have a ton of great submissions from the MinnMax community. It's overwhelming. Everybody who submitted a track, thank you so much. You can go check out the big post on Patreon if you want, and there's a bunch more that we didn't get into, but they're all so damn good. Let's see. Victor Pham wrote in saying, my favorite track of the year, and this had no right to be this good. This is a track from a game that a lot of people brought up, which I didn't expect, Like a Dragon Gaiden. This is a track called Addiction.
Now this is very similar to 1 in 7, right?
I mean, this comes out in a game. Who's not getting more excited about that? Just having this be the music as you're walking around the streets.
That, unless I just missed it.
Really? Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I finished Gaiden, but there's a lot of stuff I didn't do in that game as well.
Sure. All right, we had more. Oh, Kyle, you encountered this. This is Sly Cut saying, I'll offer this new version of the music played during Super Mario RPG's secret optional boss fight as the greatest piece of music from this year. From Yoko Shimomura. Audio spoilers. Not really, but it's just a sweet song. But this is the new composition for this old track here.
It almost sounds similar to some of the music we were listening to earlier. I wonder why that would be.
Interesting idea. Yeah, I mean,
that music's actually quite hard to get to.
Really?
Because you can. It's a secret boss that was in the original game, and you can get to it. But there's like a bonus version of it where that song plays. That's like post game stuff. Like you beat all the secret bosses and everything. Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet.
Wow.
Jacob Schumer is going after my heart here. They have a suggestion. They say, my favorite song is, I think, the first song that you hear when you cook in Venba. If you haven't played Venba, I finished it this weekend. We'll talk about it more in the 210s. So much better than I was expecting. I don't know what was wrong with me when I was listening to people talking about podcasts, but it rocked me. Here is some cooking music from Venba.
நம்ம சென்னை சிட்டி அது கடையாளம் தாய் எங்க பட்டி தொட்டி நினைக்குது பாருடி செல்ல குட்டி வயசுல தாயுது ஓல்டு சிட்டி பல பேருக்கு எங்கூரு கோல்டு சிட்டி சொல்லிக்குது பாருடி செல்ல குட்டி ஏ கொளுத்துது கொடையில வெயிலு பறக்குது மின்சார ரயிலு ஏய் கொளுத்துது சம்மர்ல வெயிலு பறக்குது மின்சார ரயிலு போவோமா சென்னை சிட்டி அது கடையாளந்தான் எங்க பட்டி தொட்டி.
So it's a lot about Cauldron Lake, Dark Presence. You kind of get the idea if you translate the lyrics there again. But
Written for Alan Wake. Here in Venba.
most songs were.
So many lyrics.
Ryan McGinnis writes in and says, "Hey, it's that time of the year. Welcome back, Emily," says Ryan. My favorite song of the year is Jamie's theme from Street Fighter VI. It's a wonderful background piece of music for training and working on combos. It's the perfect track for getting into the zone for Street Fighter here. This is Jamie's theme. The best thing is somebody else in the community here pointed out that Kyle Silva pointed out that if you're idle as Jamie and this song is playing in Street Fighter 6, he'll just start singing along to his own theme, which is very fun.
That's great.
Also connected to Yoko Shimomura because she wrote Street Fighter 2 music, Kyle. So it all comes back to Yoko, of course. Let's see. Quilgrim writes in, ugh. I was so happy that somebody wrote in with this one, and I won't even set it up because it just blew me away again listening to it. See if you can figure out what game this is from. Here we go. It's the Wind Temple boss from Tears of the Kingdom. Okay. Sorry, I shouldn't have let you guys hang
track. I thought it was like, I know this track so well.
Oh, I thought you were just going to immediately be like, oh, of course, Zelda, of course.
Yeah, no, it's been a little while.
The only reason I didn't put Zelda on is because we've been hearing that music for 20 years. And not that specifically, but like, I'm just like, I want new.
And you think Tears of the Kingdom isn't new enough for you musically?
That was the most disappointing thing to me about Tears of the Kingdom. And I say that with love in my heart. Please don't crucify me right now. But
I agree. There was a lot of repeated music in that game.
So much repetition, and that I thought after all the polish and detail they did in the game, I was really disappointed in that. I thought, everything else was so great in that game. Like, they added the whole basement, for Christ's sake. Why not spend more time on, and I love the horse music when you're riding the horse and that they like do the beautiful piano thing.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things in the world. So do that, but different.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but that Wind Temple boss music, come on. And I mean, some of the music, it's towards the end in particular, it's like they know where to hit you in the frickin' gut, and it lands when they need to,
I feel like they have that stuff in the theme where it almost sounds like things are like playing backwards, and it's like, that's so cool, but then like that only pops up in the game like very infrequently.
Yeah.
They
Okay,
did it already in Skyward Sword. So
there we go. That's true. Sleepy Mailman. I love this choice. Sleepy Mailman has Frey's theme from Forspoken. Speaking of putting their money where their mouth is, I guess, musically here, like, say what you will about Forspoken, they did not get cheap on that soundtrack. It's ridiculously good.
yeah.
Bear McCreary and Gary Scheinman, is that how you pronounce it?
Yep.
Yeah, so God of War composer and Bioshock composer working together on that entire thing, but super cool soundtrack for Forspoken. Let's see, we have... let's see.
And that's a wrap on Forspoken being mentioned in 2023.
Hope y'all enjoyed it. I could see Jeff on bring it up in 210s. He could bring it up in a weird spot, you know.
Yeah,
he's the man who argued that the GTA remastered trilogy should be on the list. So you never know. You never know what's going on with him. Let's see. Do you want a stupid one or a good one, Jacob?
Stupid, please.
Okay, great. Chris Galar says, without a doubt, the best track this year is Silly Goose from Dead Island 2. Here we go.
Honk it like a silly goose.
Perfect work.
That's about Saga Anderson's family lineage.
Dead Island 2, everybody. Don't forget about it. Let's see.
That's a wrap on Dead Island 2.
How dare you? Everybody give a hand. That's a wrap for Dead Island 2. Last day on the set. Patrick Hughes wrote in with a little ditty from Bayonetta Origins. I love Bayonetta Origins getting some love. I love it. Michael Berry writes in and says, Pizza Tower's theme deserves a listen. It does a great job capturing the chaos of the game. Emily, have you heard any music from Pizza Tower yet?
No.
Okay. Are you sitting down?
Yes.
Okay, great. Here's Pizza Tower's main theme. Pizza Tower. The track is called It's Pizza Time, of course.
I need to play that game, man.
Yeah.
It's very WarioWare inspired.
Oh,
right?
it's
Wario, not
Wario
WarioWare.
Land. Wario Land.
I need to play Pizza Tower. I gotta make some Pizza
You
Tower.
definitely did. Leo's streaming it later this week on Twitch. If you want to follow us on twitch.tv/MinnMax show. Absurd game, absurd soundtrack. Sweet to hear. I was amazed by the amount of people that wrote in, several people at that wrote in about a track that they added to Splatoon 3. So this recent season of the game added this track, and it plays immediately in the hub world after a weekend-long competition Splatfest is finished. After all the intensity and pressure for repping your Splatfest team, this track gives me a sense of catharsis and peace from a game known for its fast pace and huge swings. This track really had an impression on people still playing Splatoon 3, but here it is. So if you don't speak Inkling, it's like Nightingale, get back in that lake. It's not your time yet. You get the idea. Let's see.
Clothes.
The sitar in there was cracking me up.
So absurd. Let's see. Procyon number 6 says, in an effort to avoid spoilers, Seabird by the Alessi brothers from a certain side quest in Spider-Man 2 is his favorite track of the year. It is excellent. I don't want to get nuked on YouTube for it, but Alessi brothers and Seabird is that track from Spider-Man 2, which is awesome. The amount of licensed stuff that they include for Spider-Man 2 is fantastic.
Yeah, I love the shins. Let's play that song from Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, why not? It's fun, man. All right, Charnel writes in and says the composer of the Jet Set series returned to compose new tracks for Team Reptile's Bombrush Cyberfunk, and it's the best soundtrack of the year for me. So here's a track from Bombrush Cyberfunk. We just can't get enough of the soundtrack.
Got back together for Bombrush Cyberpunk.
Unbelievable, right? Great poll. Great poll if you can get it. Let's see. We have, Hunter Sachs says, love it or hate it, Starfield has some really great space music. That is true. In terms of big new IPs with a big new theme that'll really, I think, stand the test of time. I think Starfield's up there here. We can listen to a little bit of it here. We can jump ahead a little bit. But in terms of making a new Bethesda theme that can stand up there with Elder Scrolls and Fallout, I feel like mission accomplished for Starfield. I think it's up in that territory. All right. Let's see. Oh my gosh, so much good stuff from everybody here. Patrick Hughes says, "Ahoy, MinnMax and crew! It would be criminal if Hi-Fi Rush wasn't given at least one shout out as the game that had me literally tapping my foot alongside Chai from start to finish of that musical game." So here's Hi-Fi Rush, everybody. Everybody remembers the licensed songs from Hi-Fi Rush, but the original soundtrack is so damn good too.
Also, the replacements for the licensed songs are really good.
The replacements?
Like if you're streaming?
Like if you turn on streamer mode, it's not like they mute it. It's like they have fully original songs that are like the same tempo and similar vibes, but like not the same. But they have like vocals.
Interesting. Ooh, Sean writes in talking about how unbelievably good. They said, "I think the Jusant soundtrack is phenomenal. Beautiful music that perfectly captures the game for Jusant here."
That almost went on my 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jusant, everybody. Don't forget how good that game soundtrack is.
So good.
Let's see. Andrew Walker says, "My first submission to the podcast. Hello, and especially tuneful welcome to Emily." Do you get that a lot? Tuneful welcome. Let's see. I have to give a shout out to The Last Spell as being both an unloved hidden gem from this year as well as having a killer soundtrack. This is Commander's theme from The Last Spell. It goes places. I'm looking at gameplay of this game. This is a wild combo of like metal soundtrack with like a city builder sim experience from what I can tell for The Last Spell.
Metal.
Yeah, that's awesome. The Last Spell, everybody. But you all have some honorable mentions you want to be sure to get out there?
Sure.
What did I put on my list, Ben? I don't. It's over
I'll
in
grab
the
it for you.
other computer land.
Yeah, you're all set. Ooh, yeah, the main theme to Lamplighter's League from you, Emily.
Oh yeah, Lamplighter's League. It's so good.
All right, here we
The
go.
only person who has said that.
I
this
love
year.
it. I love it. All right, here
The
we go.
music.
awesome.
So good.
John Everest is the composer for Lamplighter's League. Oh, that's excellent. Sweet. Anybody else got one they want to toss out?
You can. I just a couple seconds of my Pikmin 401. This genre I don't hear in video games a lot, and it was perfect for a boss fight where you have a ton of little minions with you.
All right, here we go. Pikmin 4.
Truly don't need to listen to a lot of it. I just love the idea of like marching band music. Pikmin boss fight. It was like, yeah, this is perfect.
And you're whistling so much in that game anyway, like on top of this, yeah. Yep, that's good. That's good stuff.
Ben, can you play the last one that I sent you from a game called Otxo?
Yeah, what is this?
This is a game that it thinks that Hotline Miami was way too like chill and laid back.
Oh, okay.
Is essentially the pitch. The song is called Devil's Meat Grinder.
Hell yeah. Can you work to this music, Jacob? Is this what is going on inside your head most days?
Yeah, I need it to drown out everything else.
No, okay.
It's notable that that game also has the loudest in-game guns I have ever heard, and so it's like that music and just like eardrum shattering gunshot.
All right, there we go. Oxo.
I just wanted to mention, because it's thematic, you mentioned Hotline Miami. Gunbrella was a soundtrack this year that had real Hotline Miami vibes, which I did not expect. That game's soundtrack is like surprisingly unsettling for what I thought was a game based around a pun that they thought was funny.
Right.
Like actually surprisingly dark.
Jacob, you also had, it's a shame not to mention this somewhere, but El Paso Elsewhere.
Yeah, I did include one of the vocal tracks, which are like notable in this game.
Yeah.
But just like the normal soundtrack as well is also very good.
Here we go. Yeah, I thought for sure you're choosing one of the tracks with vocals in it, but you got to break your streak, I guess.
All of my tracks had vocals, and so I was like, I should do something different.
Yeah, El Paso Elsewhere, sweet soundtrack. Michael Karpinski here says, the cutest song award goes to, of course, Super Mario Brothers Wonder with the Piranha Plants theme. Here we go. important work. It's important work, everybody.
And that's after like chapter 6 in Alan Wake? I thought we were all gonna rush to that joke.
I know. I was thinking I wanted to jump on that grenade. Again, I'm sure we missed a ton of great music this year. Feel free to leave a comment below. Let us know what stood out to you that we didn't get to. But hell of a year for game music. Emily, I feel like this every year we have you on is like, hey, good year for game music.
All the time. There's so many good things, and we can never mention it all. And yeah, it's great. Even in Zelda, there's some amazing.
How did you already
finally pulled it off, that Zelda team?
We're not even done podcasting yet. You already got hate mail at your house? This seems...
I know, right? Yeah, they're like lined up outside around the block. Yeah. If they can brave South Minneapolis, yes.
Ooh. Hey, Jacob, you know how this whole thing operates?
Avoiding DMCA takedowns.
That's right.
Giving us money on Patreon.
That's it, everybody. You get the idea. Patreon.com/MinnMax with 2 N's. You find the tier that's sustainable for you, and that makes this whole independent operation sustainable. Genuinely, every once in a while, I get a comment or a message from people who are very sweet about like, what's the best way to support MinnMax? Should I listen to the podcast version or listen to the YouTube version? What helps you all out more? I did the math this weekend just to be a freak. If you watch the YouTube version of MinnMax, one episode of the show, we get 0.005 cents for that. So if you jump in even at the $2 tier on Patreon just for 1 month, you're helping us by a factor of 40,000. So it's no small feat. So it's a huge step up. Just $2. Jump in on that Patreon tier just for 1 month. Give it a whirl. Help support content like this where we break down so many great tracks from the year. We appreciate it. And shout out to MinnMax's biggest supporters. I'm talking about folks like Uncommon Goods. They want you to know that it's officially time to kickstart your holiday shopping, but there's no cause for panic. Don't panic, Jacob Geller. You seem like a Douglas Adams guy, aren't you, Jacob?
Oh, sure.
Okay, cool. Uncommon Goods is here to make your holiday shopping stress-free by scouring the globe for the most remarkable and truly unique gifts for everyone on your list. Whether you're shopping for mom, dad, teenagers, in-laws, or your best friends, Uncommon Goods knows exactly what they want. Look, everybody, no one likes holiday shopping. You're a freak if you do, but it's a better experience if you just go to Uncommon Goods because they genuinely have a bunch of very cute, very fun stuff there. And when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. They want you to know these fine products are often made in small batches, so shop now before they sell out this holiday season. They have stuff like a little storybook model that you build and you can put on your bookshelf that's like an inset little model that is cool and you can light it up compared to other books. So check out Uncommon Goods to get 15% off your next gift. You can go to uncommongoods.com/MinnMax. That's uncommongoods.com/MinnMax for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, they are truly out of the ordinary. Kyle, what's harder than coordinating with a team?
Cooking meals every night?
Yeah, childbirth. The point is not much, Kyle. It's tough. And that's where a company called Notion comes into play. Notion combines your notes, your docs, your projects all together in one beautiful space. And navigating that space is easier than ever thanks to Notion's new features, a Q&A, which is an AI assistant that can answer your questions about next quarter's roadmap, find that marketing campaign proposal you're looking for, or dig up a long lost link, all in seconds. When your projects get more complex, finding what you're looking for across your entire workspace gets harder. That's where Notion comes in. With the Q&A system, it answers any questions you have, making use of your entire database of knowledge to make sure the answers are actually helpful. Notion AI can now give you instant answers to your questions using information from across your wiki, projects, docs, and meeting notes. It's a big shared workspace environment where you can keep all your stuff, and it's a very handy way to search it now is what they're pushing here. Let me translate. This is what Notion is trying to say. So you can try Notion AI for free when you go to notion.com/MinnMax. That's all lowercase letters, notion.com/MinnMax to try the powerful, easy to use Notion AI today. And when you use our link, you're supporting the show at notion.com/MinnMax, everybody. Kyle, what's harder than rocket science?
Organizing a team of people to
No, that's chump change. That's easy. What's hard is canceling your subscriptions. That's why you need Rocket Money, Kyle, and only Rocket Money. It's like, I don't like having too many subscriptions. Even like Amazon Prime, I order a bunch of stuff off Amazon, but like I don't ever want Amazon Prime. I just don't like having that draining somewhere in the background, you know? But that's what Rocket Money is all about. They find unnecessary subscriptions in the past and trim it down for you. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. With over 5 million users and counting, Rocket Money has helped save its customers an average of $720 a year. Jacob Geller likes it so much he strips at the notion of saving money from Rocket Money. It saves its customers an average of $720 a year and $1 billion in total savings so far. Kyle, you want to save $1 billion?
Yes, please.
Rocket Money. Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and manage your money the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/MinnMax. That's rocketmoney.com/MinnMax. Rocketmoney.com/MinnMax. Now
I use it.
You do, Emily?
I do. I use Rocket Money. I actually do.
Are you thinking
I
of
did
Rocket
so much
Mortgage?
Black Friday shopping in the middle of the night, Thanksgiving night, over like after midnight, that Rocket Money was like, did you mean to spend this much money? Like, I actually really like it.
That's
and
so
it did
sweet.
actually help me cancel subscriptions I didn't want to deal with.
Sweet.
So-
Love to hear it. There we go. Also, shout out to our friends at I Am 8-Bit. They want everybody to know about Day of the Devs. This is an easy one. It's happening in LA on December 8th, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific. You can follow the link in the description or go to dayofthedevs.com to get your ticket. It is a free event where if you're in LA on December 8th, you can go meet a bunch of indie developers, play a bunch of indie games, meet a bunch of cool people. If you know I Am 8-Bit's wonderful online store, you know that it's a company run by a bunch of very cool, hip people. I feel like I Am 8-Bit's too cool for me, but you can be too cool for everybody. If you go to I Am 8-Bit's event, go to Day of the Devs, everybody. Free event to play a bunch of indie games in LA, December 8th. Check it out. There's the in-person celebration. There's the whole online thing as well, happening December 6th. You can check that out. It's been going on since 2012. Go there, meet some devs, thank them in person, and thank you to I Am 8-Bit for all their support of MinnMax for so long. You can go check out their wonderful online store. Oh, that's the wrong thing right there. You can check out their wonderful online store, im8bit.com. You can get 10% off of everything under $100 by using the promo code GOBBLE Gobble till you wobble. Help support I Am 8-Bit because they ship out a prize to the MinnMax community every single week. Whoever has the best question of the week wins a prize. This week, it is the Blaseball vinyl, the Discipline double vinyl soundtrack with music by the Garages. So literally, I Am 8-Bit ships out a prize directly to your mailbox. If you're a supporter of MinnMax, you can submit a question each and every week over on Patreon. We choose our favorite. They win a physical prize thanks to I Am 8-Bit, and they are very generous and cool, so help out I Am 8-Bit. Links below for all those perks. Ready for some questions?
Yeah.
Great. Joshua Navalis says, hey, everybody. In the spirit of Serial Vasquez's truly impressive Zelda-thon, this year he played through every single Zelda game, and he's ranking them all on the most recent episode of his Zelda podcast, which is Every Day I'm in Tears, I believe is the name of that. But anyways, Joshua says, I'm starting a new tradition. I'm going to pick a series that I don't know well and attempt to play through every entry in that series over the course of the year. I think it'll be a fun way to fill some of my knowledge gaps, give older titles their time to shine, and see how a franchise evolves over the years. The question to you is, if you had the time, what's a series that you would want to play from start to finish? Start to finish.
Yakuza.
Yeah, because everyone has that dream. That seems very challenging. I think like Joe Juba did it.
Well, Sarah's almost done.
Sarah's doing it. Yeah.
I still imagine Sarah's like a lifetime away. What is she on? She's on 5 or 6?
She's on 6, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Thought.
She'll be caught up in time for Infinite Wealth.
The thing about that one is because it is a continuous story, like that's the incentive to go back and play them all. Where it's like Final Fantasy, there's a ton of Final Fantasy games I haven't played, but it's like since they're all standalone, I don't really feel super compelled to do that. But yeah, Yakuza is the one that comes to mind.
Yeah, I thought of like Charles Hart, who is at Game Informer, and he guested on the MinnMax show not too long ago, and he played through every Assassin's Creed before Mirage came out. But then the bummer is like, then he's like, all right, so what do you think about Mirage? And he's like, I'm kind of sick of Assassin's Creed
he overdid
now.
it, man. He overdid it.
It's a curse, man. I gotta be careful.
I actually, the one I've played a couple of these, so I don't know if this counts, but like genuinely, I think I could be a Kingdom Hearts guy if I really, I would be one of those defenders. Even though today, if you ask me about it, I'd be like, 3's cutscenes are borderline unwatchable.
Did you play 1 and 2?
What's that?
You didn't play 1 and 2?
I got to the end, the final boss of 1 and couldn't beat him. And then 2, I played and beat and really liked a lot.
Hey, Kyle,
2,
I got bad news. You
really
are a
enjoyed.
Kingdom Hearts guy. What are you talking about? You could be one. You are one.
That's like 20% of the whole series.
I guess that's true, yeah.
I booted up 3 like a month ago, and my wife walked in and she's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know, I'm hanging out with Rapunzel.
I mean, I think my first thought was like Metal Gear Solid for this, because it is, maybe I'm too morbid, but I was thinking about just like, I don't think at any point in my life, for the rest of my life, I'll like sit down and play through that entire series, as like one big chunk, not a marathon, but like I think it's going to be kind of patchwork, revisiting it here and there. Maybe a deepest dive on some of them would be fun. But in a perfect world, I do think that'd be fun to like give that one last big hurrah, that series I love so much. Like I'm just going to devote this half a year to playing through every Metal Gear.
So would you throw Survive in there?
Oh yeah, I think you'd have to. I think you gotta stick with it for the ups and the downs, Anybody else got one that stands out?
I would have also said Zelda because I never played those early ones.
Yeah.
I started Ocarina of Time on my Switch, but I didn't get very far.
Yeah.
But I would like
honestly.
to do that. And
Yeah.
then I've never played like Morrowind and those
Oh,
early
that'd be
Elder
interesting.
Scrolls. I think that'd be kind of fun to do. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Another one I'm curious about is Armored Core. Now that I've played, it's like that's hard because it's like I know I have played, basically the peak. Even though I've heard that 4 is really good, and I want to go back and play 4. But it's like that would just be so cool to like see the series kind of evolve.
I think didn't Renata Price play all of them, or did she just go back to 4 and 5?
I think she just played 4 and 5.
Okay.
There were a couple YouTubers who like prior to 6, kind of the people on the Souls beat like played all of them and were basically like, yeah, it was really rewarding. Those games are all awesome.
Yeah. Ricky Winterborn, what's the most catchy video game song of all time? And Ricky's vote is the Dr. Mario theme. It's an interesting choice. Interesting choice.
In the original Mario,
Yeah.
just
You think?
classic. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the number of times per day that I'm doing something in my house and somehow like ba 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 just like works its way into what I'm doing. It truly, I think it's like twice a day.
Really? I was gonna say.
Wow.
I was gonna kind of pour some water on that because it's the first instinct. Then I'm like, I don't know the last time I was like singing this out loud. If I was singing in the shower, maybe it's been a while, and I've just kind of dodged this catchiness bullet. I don't know.
I mean, I make up stupid songs constantly, and like
Yeah.
that's one of the easiest things to do it to.
That was my first custom ringtone. Was the
Ooh.
Mario music.
Oh,
Which was really
nice.
exciting at the time. I was
Totally.
like 2001 or something. Or no, it's a little later than that, I think. But yeah.
Probably, yeah.
The one for me is it's very specific to me, but the windmill theme from Ocarina of Time is like in the same way Jacob thinks about the Mario theme. That do 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 do. I hear that in my head a lot.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think for me, I think it might be Woodman Stage from Mega Man 2. In terms of just stuff, like what is looped in my head the most, and I'm not even a wild Mega Man guy, but like that song is just, all right, good luck, everybody. Let's see. Should we just loop it the rest of the podcast?
Why not?
So,
Throw Storm Eagle from Mega Man X in there. Like mix it up,
okay,
go back
yeah,
and
yeah.
forth.
Andy Ware writes in and they say, do you have a favorite short piece of media? Come on, that's obnoxious. Do you have a favorite
I don't
short?
know what that means. I don't. Like,
like,
what do you mean by short?
your
You mean
favorite-
30 seconds?
Your favorite piece of media that Martin Short has appeared in? Yeah, do you have a
Three
favorite?
Amigos. Full stop.
Correct.
Three Amigos.
So they say like
stop.
favorite short story, short film, short game. Shout out to the MinnMax Discord book club, which is happening right now, which is reading the short story Robbie by Asimov this December. Hell yeah.
Okay.
Favorite short thing.
One that I return to often, like every like couple of months I watch it, is Miyazaki made a short film called On Your Mark. And the story about it is like he was in the middle of Princess Mononoke production and he was like just sort of needed a break. So he made this short film on a music video, and it's science fiction. And it's like, it's also like, it's, I don't know how long it is, but it's like, it's science fiction, which he doesn't do a lot of. It's, it has like alternate timelines, and it's like this like story about these two like, people like saving an angel that was like discovered in this like the tower of this like this futuristic city, and they sacrifice themselves to like escape with her, and it's so moving and quick, and it's just like this like perfect amount of like Miyazaki charm in like under 8 minutes, and the song's really good too because it's basically a music video, and I believe it played before Princess Mononoke when it aired in Japan. I highly recommend it, especially if you like Miyazaki and you want something that's like a little different than what you would expect from him. It's very cool.
Short media is like my whole jam. This is a big one for me. My favorite short story is Tower of Babylon by Ted Chiang, who's the guy who wrote the short story that Arrival is based on. Tower of Babylon is great. The short animated film World of Tomorrow by Don Hertzfeldt it's like 15 minutes long, maybe 20 minutes long, and it is kind of just like, here are a bunch of ideas about the future, and it's like really, really fast, and the animation is like very interesting, and it's unexpectedly moving. And then one of my favorite games, which we actually just covered on Something Rotten, or will come out in a week or two, is the game Anatomy, made by the indie horror creator Kitty Horror Show. It is the single scariest game ever made. It's like 45 minutes long. It's in my top 10 games for sure.
Oh wow, that's sweet. Oh, well, now I sound like an idiot. I was going to say Jack Attack. The Incredibles short. With Kari the babysitter.
I'm Kari the babysitter. I love that short.
I had that on my iPod super early on, and I would just watch it over and over and over and over again. Also, I thought of another piece of game music that I don't know if it was time and a place, but this is up there for me. Kyle, do you remember when the Wii U came out and everybody just had the Nintendo Land theme stuck in their head for like a month straight? Do you recall?
Yes.
Okay.
And
just to remind you. You get the idea.
I mean, it doesn't outdo the Wii Shop music.
Yeah, I guess that's true. It was funny hearing everybody on every podcast when they're talking about Super Mario RPG. They've got Super Mario RPG.
Yep.
It's like to start singing that they just can't help
That guy's
themselves.
like an acclaimed director now. Have you seen Blackberry?
Have you seen Blackberry? The movie freaking rules.
It's so good.
It's
I love that
unbelievable.
movie.
But is he the director of that, or is he just in it?
I think he's a writer, director, and he's like a co-star. He might not be writer, but
I think he was the writer. Yeah, Matt Johnson. Yeah.
I watched that on a plane, and so I didn't have internet, and I was like, I can't look up if that's the guy from Nirvana the band, the show.
It is.
Insane. Yeah. Very much is. Let's see. Sly Cut writes in and says,
do you like it, Jacob?
Oh yeah, it's great.
That's great.
Hey, greatest work of art of all time for 2023, Blackberry.
Yeah.
Sly Cut says, if you had to stand on a small ledge against a cliff wall, Emily, you're doing this right now, imagine, and you're shimmying across, would you have the front of your body against the cliff wall or the back of your body?
Oh. Whoa. Whoa.
You got to choose.
I mean, I think I would have my back like you do in a game, right? Like, cause
so you're looking out
like
as you're going along.
My world experience would be like informed from my game playing and where you shimmy across with your back.
Okay.
The Prince of Persia, Sands of Time. He's facing that thing when he's shimmying.
Facing it? Because you feel like then if you were facing it and you fell, you could grab easier.
Yeah, but if you slipped, you might be able to like fall on your butt if you were facing out.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah, I thought facing out would be
also true. I'll never be in that situation.
Well,
also true.
You don't know.
I hope.
I was trying to think of the last time I was like that level of physically uncomfortable, and it's a sliver of a sliver of a sliver. But I had this weird feeling that I still don't like thinking about. But when I was in Hawaii in January, we were at Hanama Bay, it's called, and it's like great snorkeling there in Hawaii. And so it's like, okay, you cannot stand on the coral. It will cut you and it's illegal. You're not allowed to touch the coral, all this stuff. But they had like huge expanses of coral and it's like the best scuba snorkeling to look at these fish. So you could like swim over the top of it, but like the coral came up to like almost the surface of the water. So there's only like a couple feet of water above the coral, and then you're like swimming over the top, but you had to be like fully splayed out like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. You like couldn't put your hand on, so like trying to swim but not go down. I was in the middle of this coral reef and I just wanted to dive. Like I never thought this would be so physically uncomfortable, but like I can't put my hands down anywhere, and I've never swam like spread out like a stupid spider in Mario 64. It was a nightmare. Don't do it, everybody. Don't climb.
References.
Yeah, there was
Spider from Mario 64. I'm like, yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I felt like the personification of the Nintendo Land theme. Let's see. Aging Poorly says, hello, MinnMaxers. Hello, Emily. What's your favorite example of an obscure instrument being used in video game music? And what instrument should be getting more love? Example of an obscure instrument in video game music.
Thing is, there are a lot of examples where they used to be obscure and then everybody liked it, so everybody started doing it.
Oh, yeah?
So one really good example would be Tuvan throat singing. You didn't used to hear that ever. And I can't remember who did it first, and now you hear it all the time.
Huh.
I feel like it was normalized in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order for me, because that's how that game opens, is with...
Oh, funny.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the first, but that's when I was like, oh,
Yeah.
here's a thing. And then, yeah, you're right. I feel like I did start seeing it everywhere.
Huh.
Yeah.
My answer is a human head for the soundtrack
from
for Inside.
That's right.
Yeah.
Tell the
More
story,
human
Kyle.
heads.
Tell the story of the human head.
Let's see. Polygon has a story, but I Googled it to make sure I was remembering correctly, where the composer like reverberated sound through a hollowed out human head to make some of the sound effects and music for Inside. Apparently the teeth all fell out because of the vibrations, they said.
Cool stuff. I'm going to donate my body to science, just hoping that happens.
I'm going to donate it to Playdead. Let's see what comes out of it.
But I won't be playing dead. By the way, just because it reminded me, Neil Smith wrote in with their choice for a music track, and it is kind of fun. Neil Smith says, my favorite game music track this year was one of the tracks the DJ at Pylon Saloon plays in Star Wars Jedi Survivor. So this is just some good Star Wars cantina music here.
No longer called Jizz, the Star Wars music.
Yeah, I'm picketing outside Lucasfilm. What is it called now? It's something close to that.
Jizz? I don't know.
You're really going to make me Google Jizz is now called... It says the word semen. That's not what I want. Come on, music. What is it now called? Oh, Jazz it's called.
Jazt?
Jatz is technically the new genre.
I think it was the right call, honestly.
You got to do it. It's not Slave One. Okay, we get it. Who is this? Oh, I got it. Marcus W. They say, hey, Emily, it's always fun to have you back on the podcast. It's always a blast to listen to all your recommendations afterwards. A question for you and the rest of the gang. If you could choose one instrument that you could magically play perfectly for the rest of your life, what instrument would you choose? And don't everybody say tuba and throat singing, please.
I mean, I think about this a lot, and I would say if I were like, it'd probably be piano. I know that's so silly, but like, I just wish I had better piano chops, and I just don't. But honestly, I wish I could play any instrument with magically, bassoon or like mandolin or banjo or, freaking nose flute. I mean, just anything. But probably piano.
Oh, well,
piano or guitar.
Boy, do I have a thing for you, Emily. Emily, have you seen Piano Vision yet in VR?
No.
Okay, hear me out.
I have not.
I'm not
okay,
trying
I'm
to get you to spend $750 on this because there's no way it's worth it, but it is a cool thing. I have it with the MetaQuest 3, and it uses augmented reality and like the pass-through camera. So basically, it teaches you to play piano by turning your real-life keyboard or piano into like Guitar Hero or Rock Band, and the notes are descending in your physical space from the top until they hit the keys, and then you just hit that key.
Wow.
It's cool stuff. You should look up a trailer for Piano Vision. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it.
Very cool. I mean, I know how to play it. That's the thing. I just play it badly.
Oh, well, imagine having a stupid thing on your head while you played it badly, though. Wouldn't that be a hoot?
It would. It would.
Jacob, do you got an instrument you're dying to play?
I don't know. It's like it's hard to argue against piano because it's just like the most broadly applicable. Like it would be so cool to be able to play like a cello at like a master level, but you'd never be at like a party and they'd be like, "Oh, you can play something on the cello." You know, it's like piano or guitar. You know, those are kind of your options for like social situations, and everything else it feels like you're just like, "Well, I could be really good in an orchestra."
Yeah. If I needed to be. L2 Larson has a question after my own heart, even if I'm not the person to answer it. L2 Larson says, Hi. What is an in real life sport that you think would benefit from a remake?
I've thought about this all the time because I love baseball. I love going to baseball games.
Yes.
Baseball is a mechanically like unsound game. Like if there was a video game, you would be like, in baseball, the most satisfying, most beautiful hits often are actively negative for the team who got them.
Sure.
You know, the fact that like just the cleanest like hit to center field, soaring through the air, it gets caught, that person's out immediately. It sucks. And so I feel like there should be, my modern theory on it is there should be like essentially big floating rings that the batter can hit it through. And if so, they get like power-ups. Like maybe next time they get to hit with like an aluminum bat instead of wood or something.
That's good. Yeah.
Because it's just like, you know, in a video game, if you pull off the most satisfying thing, you should be rewarded for it. Right. And that feels like it should be true in sports as well. And in baseball, it's often not.
If you don't hit it hard enough. Yeah. And like and I'm sorry to Kelsey Lewin, who may be listening to this podcast. She's throwing a baseball through a window in a blind rage because it's a perfect game in her mind. But like, I guess this year they sped up baseball a lot, right? Like they made
it's so much better.
Oh,
they
really?
made so many good changes. Yeah. There's a timer now for the pitcher.
That's sweet.
And I think there was a double header that was played at the beginning of the season this year that was over before last year's longest regular 9-inning running game.
That's
if
awesome.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and baseball is like a perfect example of how you can make a bunch of changes to make the game more interesting, because I love sports too. And I started listening. I mean, I listened to it on the radio because Bally Sports North is the only way you can watch Twins games here. So if you don't pay for that, you can't watch the Twins 9 times out of 10. So I was listening to it on the radio and I loved it. I was listening to Twins games while I was playing Zelda. I was listening to Twins games, you know, it just made it so much more enjoyable because the game just moves along. And so they made all these changes and they made it like so much better. Yeah.
But did the bad music from Zelda kind of diminish your baseball enjoyment?
There's no bad music in Zelda.
I'm just messing with you. You're fine.
I mean, I might slap someone if I hear that stable music again. But other than that, that's music in Zelda. It's just repetition made it bad.
I hear you. Even though I'm not the biggest sports fan, I would watch a documentary just about like them updating rules for sports. I'm fascinated by that. Like the patches for sports is such a cool idea. Let's see. Gabriel Cleveland writes in, they say, holy hell, I would love to win the Garage's Discipline vinyl. I got super into them this year, which helped me cope with the ending of Blaseball. Anyway, here's my question. All right, pressure's on. I've always found the MinnMax jingles to be particularly high quality. The Get a Load of This jingle has a classic, get out of here jingle, has a classic cartoon whimsy to it, and even the ad read music propels the listener forward, you're being too sweet, through something that on most podcasts would be tedious. Ads are tedious? What are they talking about? But on this show, it manages to be fun. Crazy. What was the process like in developing the show's signature sounds? This is so navel-gazing. This feels like a party chat question, but yeah, the Get a Load of This.
Tracking down an email address? Was that the preparation you did?
Was it what?
Tracking down an email address
for the composer?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I mean, it's a little bit different. Like the ad music, that's just from like Google's YouTube free music library. I think it's called Palm Trees. If you want to find it at home. But I was like, this is good enough. I think this is. We don't got to pay nobody for this. But finding the intro music for the podcast was surprisingly tricky. Yeah. So it's like, I think. Trying to remember, I think first we went to the Supermercado Brothers. I assume you know them, Emily, right?
Oh, yeah, they're great.
Okay, yeah.
Will and Carl.
Yeah, because they composed the Game Informer show opening. And so I was like, oh, well, let's have them compose this one. And I gave them too exact of a reference where I was like, I kind of want it to sound like this one track from Mega Man Legends. They completely knocked it out of the park. It was exactly what I was looking for, but it was like, it was so close to the Mega Man Legends track. I'm like, oh, I blew it. I shouldn't have asked them to use this as in preparation, because they like just came up with an awesome new version of that. And so that didn't last long, but that became the intro for Great Goaty Hunt at a certain point. And then I reached out to Grant Kirkhope, the famous Rare composer, and he did an intro theme, and it's very fun because like, I want something that's 15 seconds so people can skip it if they want. And then I wanted to like progress throughout and kind of like add layers. And then for inspiration, I sent him this track.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. From Mario Land, Mudo Kingdom is such a good track. I was like, something that feels like this. And he knocked it out of the park. But then at a certain point, it's like, I think this is better as an outro song because it has like the little twinkly sounds on it. So we moved that for the outro for the MinnMax show and begged Grant Kirkhope for forgiveness. Still gave him his money, but begged him for forgiveness since we were moving it from the intro. And then eventually, like a friend of mine made a track that we used for a little while. Let's see. Yeah, I like it. My friend Ben Dames did it, and he originally had lyrics to it, which is like, I don't want to go outside, I want to stay inside and play my Nintendo. And I was like, can we get that without the lyrics?
That's true.
And then had that for a little while, and then we got Chris Tilton, the composer, to make the current intro for the MinnMax show. And like he did one of my favorite soundtracks of all time, which is SimCity 2013. And then he came back, with this intro. And I feel like there were people that the podcast isn't starting over. Don't be alarmed. But I feel like some people were like, I like the old intro more. I don't like this. But then genuinely it was the animation. We did like the intro animation. We commissioned for somebody to make that for us, and they knocked it completely out of the park. And once that intro animation was in there, then everyone's like, oh, that intro theme rules. So you're going off a couple of YouTube comments, but it felt like that just 180'd it, and now people are like, oh, I love that intro. It's so good. It's like,
I did not know that it was, knowing that it's from the SimCity guy, I'm like, oh, of course, but I didn't actually know that connection.
Oh, fun.
So now I'll always think about that.
Oh, there we go. Okay, Emily, what do you like for question of the week? I'm sorry it all comes down to you, but you must choose and choose wisely.
Ooh, I would say...
Come on, Emily. Don't blow it.
I know. I would say I think catchiest game music, because we all pretty much came to a consensus right away on that.
All right. There you go. Ricky Winterborn. Congratulations. You won the prize from I'm8. But thanks everybody for writing in with your own music suggestions and good questions along the way. And now it's time for something that, of course, we call Get a Load of This. Hey, get a load of...
Who did that theme?
That's also just pulled. It's like bank heist jingle or something from YouTube's archive. It's just nothing. I think it's Cartoon Heist is the name of it. Sorry for shattering all these illusions, everybody. You don't actually like them. I'm sorry to tell you. It's just that you've all heard them a lot, and so you've all convinced yourself that these are catchy jingles. Hey, get a load of this. On Seth Meyers' YouTube show called Corrections, it's my favorite YouTube series. It's up there with the Late Input, I gotta say, and Jacob Geller's essays, and Leo Vader's essays, and Sergio Vasquez's essays, and Jenna Sieber's essays, and everybody else's YouTube content. Anyways, the point is, Seth Meyers, every week he just goes through YouTube comments on all of his late night show segments and just reads the people who are being so particular and uptight about like, actually, you got this wrong, and he just like has a drink and lets him have it. It's just a fun thing. Anyways, he was talking about Scooby-Doo being a dog, and apparently he got lit up on YouTube by being like, actually, and it turns out that in Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, the series from the 2010s, they established the new canonical origins for Scooby, where Scooby-Doo, Kyle, is not a dog. He's actually an Anunnaki, which is a race of ancient creatures who can cross into our universe and take the forms of wise talking animals. So there's I'm sorry, Scooby-Doo is an alien, everybody. And that's Scooby-Doo.
Hold on, there's a recent movie that just presents him as a puppy.
Yeah, well, that's a retcon. They're scared of the truth that he's a freaky alien creature from hell. Let's see. Emily, sorry to put you on the spot. Do you have a get a load of this?
Yeah, I just learned this super random thing today. I talk on the radio every day, and sometimes I have time to fill, so I try to find like fun science-y. I like science nerdy facts and studies, and apparently some scientists at Duke University learned that every time our eyes move, our ears make these tiny, imperceptible squeaks.
What?
And it's apparently aimed at helping our brain orient, because when our eyes move, our whole head doesn't move, right? Most of the time, our eyes are just moving. And so it was like 4 or 5 years ago that they found this out. If you put a little microphone in your ear, they can hear these crazy squeaks. But then they learned on top of that just this summer that because of those squeaks, they can tell exactly where you're looking.
No.
So it's not just they can tell your eyes are moving, but they can tell where you're looking depending on how the squeaks are.
This is why Mark Cerny wants your ear.
Oh, for the PS5. Don't give it to him, everybody.
So it's just cool because they think it'll help with, hearing tests in the future and things along those lines, and especially certainly studying balance and all those kinds of things. Just crazy science, weird, random stuff.
I love it. I love it.
That's my get a load of that. Yeah.
Get a load of this. Star Citizen?
Oh,
the game with the highest budget in the history of the human race and whatever.
Right.
I don't know what that game is, or if it'll ever kind of release. But they put out a video this week called "The Future of Gaming: Star Engine," which is the new engine that they're making Star Citizen in, because this is one of the things. It's like at some point it was CryEngine, and then it's been other things, but they have a new proprietary engine, and what it is a 24-minute single shot video where they are going not just kind of from space to Earth, but kind of like through galaxies to like multiple planets, like inside interiors, into like battle scenes. And it's just kind of like showing off the tech, but it is like, they claim all in engine, and it is legitimately very impressive. And I think Star Citizen ultimately is going to be most impressive as like, what can you do with $500 million? And, the answer is like, maybe not make a complete game, but like it is, if you just like to watch kind of tech reels as I do, and like to kind of think about graphics, it is kind of a hypnotic watch.
That's sweet. Love it. Links below for all this fun stuff. Just like Kyle's, we'll have a link below.
That's right. Hey, get a load of this. I don't have a lot of like extra fun facts or details about this, but there's a Twitch channel called Winning Sequence, and it's Twitch Plays Pokemon inspired, right? It's that concept. But what they're doing is they've assigned digits 0 through 9 to all the buttons on the Game Boy Advance, and it's doing pi. It is seeing like it's doing pi to like infinite digits, and it's playing through Pokemon Sapphire. And I know that they've been going for a long time, right? Like many hours. They haven't left the first area, but they've got like a super high level starter Pokemon. But it's just a funny idea of just this. What happens if you play Pokemon using the number pi?
You'd catch Togepi. Let's see. Hazard from the community in the Discord, they shared this tweet, the news story that apparently ReedPop is investigating the potential sale of GamesIndustry.biz, Eurogamer, Rock Paper Shotgun, VG247, and Dicebreaker. The business also holds shares in Outside Xbox, Digital Foundry, and Hookshot. It's just another sad case of a company being like, all right, we want to sell all of these classic video game websites, and so their future is going to be very much up in the air. And it's a tough place out there for games coverage these days, and this is not a great blast of good news that ReedPop is. It's always weird when you hear those stories of like Embracers thinking about selling Gearbox. Like, are people just like planting these stories out there to see if there's just interest, and that's how you do it? It's such a weird news story to come out there investigating the sale. What does that mean?
It means they're trying to find buyers. I mean, I don't think it's like a secretive thing. I think they're being very public about it.
They're ringing a dinner bell and saying, will somebody come by GamesIndustry.biz?
I think.
Yeah. Yeesh. Well, hey, that's it for this episode of the MinnMax Show. Emily, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me and putting up with all the issues that didn't happen.
They didn't happen, everybody. Emily, if people love the sound of your voice, where should they go?
If you want to hear the podcast, you can go to Level with Emily or just search Emily Reese. If you're into public radio, you can listen to me from 11 a.m. to 4:06:30 p.m. every day.
That's so. Do you know how cool radio is? I still think that's like the coolest job imaginable, that you get to talk on the radio and just set up classic music.
It's pretty fun.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I kind of have my dream job right now, which is crazy. So I'm trying to just remind myself how fortunate that is.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Listen to Live with Emily, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And thanks to everybody for watching and listening to this episode. Heads up, because of the Game Awards, they're happening Thursday next week. So because of that, we don't want to release an episode that's immediately super dated. So we're going to be recording a live episode of the podcast on December 8th, so that Friday. So the episode will be a day later than normal for folks, just so you know, next week because of the Game Awards. So heads up there. Reminder too, we have the Give to the Max stream that's happening Saturday, December 2nd, this Saturday on MinnMax's YouTube channel. Tune in, raise some money for foster kids. It'll be a fun, wacky time. I have a feeling there's going to be a certain genie who's going to be coming back, and they might grant a wish for a $50 donation. So please check it out. Thank you everybody for checking out that really obnoxious video where we read 254 jokes about gaming in 2023.
It was not obnoxious. It was fantastic. Don't undercut yourself. You're right. I look forward to that video every year.
I am not comfortable with how much I love those videos.
I like the new addition that anytime there's anything anti-capitalist, Ben Hansen just says Jacob Geller.
What am I to do?
It's your brand.
Yeah, man. You're the one who cultivated the brand. Let's see. Party Chat, our bonus podcast. You can check that out in the bonus podcast feed. This week, Haley McLean and I, based on last week's episode of the podcast, we realized that we called it underappreciated games, but there's so many more underappreciated games that came out this year that need more time in the spotlight. And so we kind of used the hive mind of the MinnMax community, and we gathered together 51 more hidden gems from 2023, and the community had some great suggestions, so you can check that out in our bonus podcast feed. There's a ton of great stuff in there. Also in that bonus podcast feed is a bonus podcast that's truly secret with Dan Reichert from Giant Bomb and Leo Vader, with those two driving in a car for an hour and just talking about whatever they want to talk about. And so thanks for all the kind words from people who are like, I love this. I love just like a super casual insight to getting Dan and Leo just hearing what they would talk about in a car, even if they weren't being recorded. So thanks for all the kind words on that. Cream of the Steam is, we have a new episode out. Suriel Vasquez founding cohort. He came back. He joined us in the MinnMax studio. We played a bunch of silly games on Steam, and it was a really fun time, so you can check that out on MinnMax's YouTube channel. Also, all week long, we've been streaming on MinnMax's Twitch, twitch.tv/MinnMax show, something we call the Goaty Scramble, where we're all catching up on games before the end of the year, and you can watch those live on Twitch. Otherwise, they're all archived on MinnMax Stream Archives, which is our new YouTube channel, all for housing those streams and whatnot. We've finished uploading all of the old streams as well. There's over 400 hours of content on MinnMax Stream Archives, and it's fun. Like, especially Sarah. Remember before Sarah was a cohort, she was like the streaming compatriot or something. She streamed so many games, and those archives are now all up there. But like, if you want to watch Sarah play through all of Resident Evil Village, she plays Halo Infinite, Elden Ring, Stranger of Paradise, Until Dawn. Like, there's a ton of great stuff from Sarah on there from back in the day, but a ton of new archives as well. Also, last thing to promote, we're coming up at the end of the month. And next month, December, is MinnMax's biggest month traffic-wise. And so here's the thing. We have a tier on Patreon called the Wall of Heroes tier, where if you jump in at the $100 tier, even just for 1 month, you can choose any image you want and put it on every MinnMax video throughout the entire month. And so for $100, your image will rotate on all of MinnMax's content throughout our busiest month, which is a pretty wild deal if you're interested in promoting something. So $100, image within reason. But $100 and your image will be seen literally millions and millions and millions of times. Like, we've done the math. It's a pretty wild thing. It rotates every 6 minutes, and we have about 250,000 views per month. That's a lot of impressions for $100. So you can help support independent games media and get a fun image or promotional image on the Wall of Heroes. We appreciate it. Thank you to everybody at the Game Champion tier, choosing any game under the sun to be declared the champion of. A pretty good printing is a person after my own heart. They chose Sping on Apple Arcade. That game rules. Jawar Hello, Diabolical, chose Baldur's Gate 2. They're the champion of Baldur's Gate 2, of course. All right, that's it. A lot to unpack in this episode. But Emily, thank you again. Kyle, thank you again. Jacob, thank you again. Were you insulted?
Good to see all you guys.
Lovely to see you, Emily. Were you insulted, Jacob, when I said Jacob Geller wrote all the jokes about capitalism?
No, it was very funny. But I was watching, sitting next to my partner, and she being like, "Why does he keep doing that?
Why won't he stop with that bad joke?" All right, that's it for MinnMax this week, everybody. Thank you so much. Be good, have fun. Let's go.